All right, so good evening, everyone. Trusting you are having an amazing day. Happy Democracy Day to you all. All right, so today we will look at the second part of Introduction to C# programming. So we're going to know all about constant variables. In our last class, we talked about, who can remind us what we talked about in our last class? Someone tell us, what did we talk about? Or what did we discuss?
We discussed about data type
All right. What else?
and and variables mostly. Uh,
Okay. So what's the difference between declaring a variable and initializing a variable?
so declaring a variable, you state the data type and the name of the variable. And
Okay.
initializing a variable, you have to assign a value to that variable.
Okay, okay. All right, that's fine. Well done. Thank you. So today we'll be looking into constant variables, what they actually are, and data type hierarchy. I know I talked about this in our last class. I showed us the table in the Markov textbook, and we'll be looking into typecasting, all these terms like this implicit, explicit conversion, typecasting. We will not go into it. Like I'm just going to lay the foundation and just expose us to this, right? So there would be some programs that we write that require us to apply this to. That is when we would understand it fully, right? So I might talk about it and some people might get confused. It is okay to get confused. It is when we go into it deeply, then you would understand it clearly. Then we'll go into C# operators, then expressions and statements, overview, conditional statements, and switch statement. Then we then go into the demo. All right. So variables, constant variables. What are they? So sometimes when trying to write a program, right? You would have a value in your program that should never change. Maybe you are asked to write a program that calculates the area of a circle, right? So there are times, some of the values, for those who are exposed to mathematics, there are some values that should never change, that are regarded as constant, right? Are we good?
Yes,
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 sir.
I am.
All right. Who can tell me some, okay, who can mention some constant values mathematics here?
Like pi,
All right, pi. What
gravity,
else?
sine one, auto sine.
Okay. So values that can never change, right, are regarded as constant values. So in C#, right, you can also think about mathematical constants like pi, or maybe a fixed maximum limit for something, right? So for these kind of values, we use constant variables, right? We use constant variables for them. And how do you declare them? It's just straightforward. It's still the same way as we declare and initialize our values and all our variables. Okay. So if I have a variable that I do not want it to change, right? I just need to do one thing, right? So after I have declared the variable, I've created a variable. Like for this example, I have pi. Pi is the name of my variable. The data type of pi is what? Double. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then we have the value 3.14159. This is the value. Now, I do not want this value to change. All I just need to do is to add cons. Cons is a reserved word in C#. Reserved words or um, reserved words in C# that should never change. Like we cannot use cons as our own personalized variable name, right? Because it is a keyword in C sharp. So cons is another reserved keyword or reserved variable name in C sharp that is used to denote or tell that the variable you are declaring and initializing should never change. All right. So this is how we write the syntax for that. So if we have a variable that when we declare and initialize it, it should not change. All we just need to do is to assign the cons keyword before the data type, and that's all. Okay. So there are reasons for that, right? And someone will ask, why am I actually doing this, right? So we do this because there is a possibility that you create a variable and there is a possibility that you are going to reassign. Who can tell me what does it mean to reassign a variable? What does it mean to reassign a variable?
Like now like you have assigned a variable to you have assigned a value to a variable before, and later on you later change the value.
Okay, exactly. So I don't want the scenario whereby I declared and initialized a variable and I want to change it again. The aim of that program or the aim of that variable that it should never be changed. So if I declare cons double pi equal to 3.14 and I go ahead to reassign this pi to another value, C sharp is going to warn me saying that this variable cannot be changed because it is a constant value. Okay. Then another thing is when giving a constant variable its name, all the all the letters or characters should be in capital letter, should be capitalized. Okay, like we see here, PI. So if you see a C sharp program that has all variable names, all the names capitalized, that will tell you that that is actually a constant variable. Same with the example two, max users. So when you see something like this and you see cons, that should tell you that that is a constant variable. Okay. All right, let's move ahead to the next slide. Data type hierarchy, right? Like I introduced to us about the data type hierarchy. If you check the, let me go to the slide first to show that. Uh, right, can you see the table?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. So C sharp has a sort of hierarchy for its data types, particularly for numbers based on how much data they can store and how precisely they can actually store it. So I would use a live example, right? So imagine a set of measuring cups for those who have used who have lived in the market, or maybe your mom tells you to measure 5 or 10 cups of rice or thereabout, right? So imagine you have a set of measuring cups of different sizes. We have the 5 meter size, the 10 meter size, 20 meter size, right? You know, you can easily pour water from a small cup into a larger cup without any loss. Am I right?
Yes, sir, you're
All
right.
right. Good. You can actually easily pour water from a smaller cup to a very larger cup without any loss from the smaller cup, right? So this is like they call it implicit conversion. They call it implicit conversion. Let's go back to the slide. They call that kind of scenario is implicit conversion, where conversion is actually from the lower data type to a higher data type. They call that implicit conversion. Okay. While explicit, right? Why explicit is more of you are converting from the curve that has the higher dimension into the smaller curve, right? So in that scenario, will you say there's possibility that there will be a loss? Assuming you are trying to pour water from a cylinder that is 20 meter, right? into a smaller cylinder of 5 meters, is there a possibility that there will be loss
Yes,
of
sir.
water?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because the 10 liters is smaller than the 20 liters, so there will be an overflow and it will waste. Or
Exactly. So there's going to be loss of data or loss of water now, right?
yes, sir.
All right, great. Thank you for that. So that is the whole idea of this implicit and explicit casting, right? So you can upcast, which is the same thing as implicit, right? But downcasting requires explicit casting. So the difference between upcast and downcasting is upcast is like the implicit, where you are converting a number from a lower data type to a higher data type. So if I go into my table, it's like saying I'm converting from implicitly, right? I'm converting from S byte to byte, right? Or maybe S byte to short. You know, as you go down, you are increasing, right? This is the least when dealing with numbers. This is the least, and this is the highest. Decimal is the highest. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. So implicit conversion is basically converting from the data type from a
I
lower
can't
data
hear you.
type to a higher data type. Can someone hear me, or is it your network?
Yes, I can hear you from here.
All right. So just check your network, okay? If someone can hear me. All right. Let's proceed. While explicit conversion is actually converting from int to short, or from a higher data type int to byte, or maybe double to int. Are we all following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, let's proceed. So typecasting, converting a value from one data type to another, right? I've talked about this. Implicit casting, cause when converting from a smaller type to a larger compatible type, no data loss. Like example is you declare and initialize a variable of data type int, then the name of the variable my int equal to 10. So double, now I want to convert this 10. I want to convert this 10 to a double. So I can easily create another variable called double, my double equal to my int. So if my double equal to my int, what is the value of my double? Let me see if someone gets it. I have int, my int equal to 10. Then I have another variable, double, my double equal to my int. What is the value of my double?
10.0.
All right, 10.0. Is someone confused? I can proceed, right? Okay,
Yes,
like I
sir.
said, if you are confused, you can just raise your hand or drop a comment. All right, so explicit is the other way around, is the opposite, right? Converting from the higher to the lower and thereabout. We'll see all this when we go into the demo part. Yeah. Then one thing you should note is that data values, the kind of data we manipulate, they are kind of very important, right? That is why there is a warning here that says, be careful with explicit casting. Why should you be careful with explicit casting? Is because of data loss, right? Especially in when for the guy that asked the question concerning when do we use double, when do we use float, especially when working on a banking application, right? When working on a banking application, every value, like values, they're important to even the value, the decimal in someone's balance. You know, it is very important. So imagine your account balance, you have 100 naira 52 kobo, right? And assuming you slept, you woke up in the morning and you checked your balance, and you saw, you know, in the night it was 100 naira 50 kobo. You woke up and you saw only 100 naira. How will you react?
They are calling my money.
They have stolen your money, right? But you're not going to react angrily now. To you, you might say, I bet, what is that kobo, Shebi?
No, because they'll collect 1 million other people and 50.
She, I get it, I get it. So that's the whole aim, right? So when you see things like that, it's obviously, or maybe it's probably, there's a possibility that the programmer must have performed explicit casting, right? Whereby when you do explicit casting from double to int. Int is just all about whole numbers. That is why there is no decimal for the int. So when you have a double variable, a variable name of data type, double, and the value is 100 naira, okay, 100.50. If you are converting it to an integer, what will be the final value for that new variable?
It's going to be 110, most likely.
110?
Sir,
Are you
please,
sure?
can you come again about the
So
question?
it's going
Okay,
to,
this is it now, right? I have a variable name of data type double, right? It has a value of 100.50, that's 100.50, right? Now,
oh,
I'm converting that variable to an integer. What will be the final value since I've converted it to an integer?
sorry, I meant 101.
100.
Where are
It's
you
going to
get
be
where are you getting your 101? It's
No,
100 now.
because because of the rounding off of 5 to 1, then adding.
Okay. Yeah. But okay, in programming writing, this is that when you are doing that to actually that doesn't apply when you're converting it to int, right? So that
Okay,
whether it's 100.6, 100.7, it will still throw away the decimal and just give you the
okay, okay,
100.
sir.
Right? But there are some manipulations you would do. Let's say, assuming you want it to give you what you want. Maybe you are performing mathematical calculations and you really want that 101. There's what you write. I don't want to go there. When we reach that level, we'll cross it, okay? All
Yes,
right, can we
sir.
proceed? Yeah. All right, C# operators. C# operators. So these are special symbols like we can see here that perform operations on your variables and values. So you're already familiar with some of this from your maths knowledge, right? So the first one we see is the arithmetic operators, right? So before I talk about the arithmetic operators, the initialization, right? These are operators. The operators are symbols that perform operations on one or more operands, right? I'll come to that. So the first operators, yeah, is the arithmetic operators, which are your basic math symbols like the plus, minus, multiplication. This slash is your division, while this slash dish, what they call this, it looks like a percentage, right? In programming, we call that modulus, right? I'll talk about the modulus and what it does later on, right? Or who can tell me what this modulus does, right? Who can tell me? What's the difference between this division and this modulus? Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good
Okay,
afternoon.
for division, when we are finding the division and we use the slant in programming, we are going to get our answer in our answer like okay 25 divided by 5. We are going
Yeah.
to get how many times divided by 5, which is 5 as the answer. But
All
when we
right.
are using the modulo as in 5 divided by 5, the modulo is standing for the remainder of our division, and that is 0 because 25 divided by 5 it is 0.
All
The
right.
remainder is 0. The answer for the modulo will be 0. But if we are talking about 21 divided by 5, then 5 in 21 is 5 is 4 remainder 1. So our
Yeah.
answer for the modulo will be 1.
Okay, all right, you got it exactly. Who is confused? Okay, no one is confused. I can proceed, right? I thought this one would confuse some people. I'm shocked. Okay, wonderful student. All right, let's proceed.
So can you hear
Sorry?
me?
Yeah, I can hear
I,
you.
sir,
You said what?
I said I'm confused.
Okay, I'm confused with the difference between division and
Modulus,
modulus,
yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So, difference between these two is assuming I am not interested in the remainder. Okay, let's use an example, right? I will ask you, 5 divided by 5 is what?
1.
Okay. Is there any remainder?
No.
Great. What is the remainder?
This is 0.
Exactly. So in programming, right, in problem solving, there are some programs that you'll be asked to write that will tell you at the end of writing this program, give me the remainder. Okay?
Okay,
Give
sir.
me the remainder of whatever you are doing. So since the program or the problem is telling me to give me the remainder, which am I to use? Which of the operators am I to use? Is it this division or this modulus?
The modulus.
Exactly, because when you are doing, when 5 modulos 5, when you do 5 modulos 5, it's actually going to give you more the remainder, which is 0. But if I'm not interested in the remainder, I would just go ahead to use 5 divided by 5 because the remainder is useless. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Right? So that's the difference between the two. This one doesn't care about the remainder, while the modulus cares about the remainder. And oh, all right. The next
Yes,
one
sir.
is the next one is assignment operators. We all know these assignment operators, which is used to assign values, right? So the most common we are all familiar with equal to, right? But we also have shorthand ones, right? Like the one we are common with, right, is the equal to. I know this second one, plus or equal to, is new. Minus equal to, times equal to, division. Don't worry about this. When we go into the code, we'll see it clearly, right? Right. When we go into the demo section, because if I try to explain this one now, you'd get confused. So when we go into demo part, I explain this clearly. Then for comparison operators, they are used to compare two values and they are always results. Their results, after comparing the two values, their result is always a true or a false, which is Boolean data type and all. Okay, so for the comparison operators, we have the equal to, then this stands for not equal to, this stands for greater than, this is less than, sorry, let me go back, why this is greater or equal to, and why this is less than or equal to, right? So the result when using these kind of operators will give you a true or a false value. Okay, then this is an example that shows how it's being done. So bool is equal to this, that. Don't worry, when we go into demo part to become clearer, all right? And finally, we have the logical operators where we have this and, this double symbol that looks like the and. The name of it is and, A-N-D. Then we have these two straight slash. We call it or. Then the exclamation is known as the not, right? Which is used with Boolean expressions. Like I said, don't worry yourself when we go into demo part to become clearer. All right. Okay. Next is expressions and statements, right? Expressions and statements. So one thing about programming is the ability to when someone is speaking to you in a programmatic way, right? and the person uses some terms, right? You should be able to know what those terms means, especially these expressions and statements. So expressions is simply a piece of code that when you evaluate, it produces a single value, right? Expressions is a piece of code that when you evaluate them, it gives you a value. What do I mean? 10 plus 5 equal to 15. Any piece of code that you write that involves evaluation, and at the end of that evaluation, you get what? A value. That is known as an expression. Are we good? So an example is, hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. So
Yes,
an
sir.
Fine.
example is, 10 plus 5 equal to 4. That is an expression. Age greater than 18, which evaluates to true or false. That is an expression. Whatever code that is being written, that there's evaluation and there is a value, that is an expression which will evaluate to true or false. Okay. Then username evaluates to the value of the username. Like we had data type string username equal to precious. That is an expression. Okay. While a statement, we look at the statement, right? A statement, on the other hand, is a complete instruction that tells the computer to perform some action. So in C sharp, every statement must end in a semicolon, right? So for expressions, for statements, we have popular statements like declaring the variable int x equal to 10. That is the normal statement. Every statement that at the end of the statement, right, you must put what? Semicolon. That is actually a statement, okay? Then console.writeLine, hello, then that is a statement, x equal to x plus 1. That is a statement and all, right? So all expressions can be part of a statement, but not all statements are expressions. So let me explain this. All expressions can be part of a statement because every line of code, like this one, 10 plus 5 equal to 15. That is actually a statement because at the end of that line of code, what are you going to put at the end?
Semicolon.
Semicolon, right? Then not all statements are expressions because there would be a statement that doesn't have a value, right? Do you get? For example, this now, we have int x equal to 10. This is a declaration and initialization statement because of what? It has what? The statement and also a value, right? Do you get?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is someone confused? Okay. All right, let's proceed. Don't worry, when we go into demo, everything will become clear. It seems I have someone chatted right truth on the chat. Then, okay. These are answers that was written down. Okay. Let's proceed now. Overview of
Question, sir.
conditional
I have a
statement.
question.
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
So,
evening.
the last slide you just changed from.
All
So,
right.
what's the difference between the last statement, the assignment statement, and the rest? What's the difference? This last one, the example,
Which one?
the one you wrote assignment statements. What's the difference between the other two?
You mean this and this?
Yes, yes,
This and this.
yes, sir.
Like console.writeLine, hello, right?
Yes, sir.
And this. All right. The difference is then the equal to. This is assignment statement. Why this is just method call statement. There is no equal to. So they call this method call statement. All right. It's still confusing, right?
Yes, a bit.
I mean, it's clearly now we have console.writeLine, hello, right? Do you see
Yes.
any assignment operator in that statement?
No.
Great. So for the second one, all these are statements, right? All these are statements that have their different, they have their difference. The first one is what? Declaration and initialization statement, where you declare a variable X and you give it a value. The second one has nothing to do with value, right? I know what is confusing you actually is the method call statement, right? If you check in your
Yes.
curriculum, we are going to be talking about functions and methods, right? So if you check your curriculum, you see functions and methods. So don't bother yourself about this method for now. When we go into that topic, you would understand this clearly, right? But just know that when you're trying to test your code and you write using console.writeLine, just know that you're actually you are calling a method from a class. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Then the last one, only assignment statement and all. All right. Overview of conditional statements. So now that we know how to store data and perform operations, how do we make our program smart, right? Conditional statements, what comes to your mind when you hear about conditional statement or something that is based on conditions? Like, what comes to your mind?
Well, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, in terms of condition, it's basically an action that is dependent on something else, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's just how I see it.
All right, exactly. So we are asked to write a program that does this and that. And there's a question that comes to mind. How do we get to make decisions? How do we get this program to make decisions, right? So any written code that involves decision making, note that what comes to your mind actually is actually the conditional statement comes to your mind and all right? So these allow your program to execute different blocks of code based on whether certain conditions are met or not, okay? So just think about real life scenario whereby if it is raining, let's say assume I'm about to go to work, right? So I want to make a decision. If it's actually raining, I'll take an umbrella. If it is not raining, is there any need for umbrella? Eh?
As a Nigerian man, no.
No.
As a Nigerian man, no. How? Now explain yourself. What do you mean by as a Nigerian man, no?
Because some people still use umbrella during the hot sun, but
Oh,
in Nigeria,
that's true. That's true. Okay, let me use another example now. You got me there. All right. If I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not hungry, I'll not eat. Does that still apply to Nigerian?
Yes.
No,
So some people, if they
Yeah.
see excess food, they will eat it.
You're
this
not
thing
hungry,
make
you
food
eat it.
spoil, make belle burst. I be how
I
they talk
beg
am.
go. So that's the whole idea of it. Conditional statement, right? What you want the code to do based on a particular condition. Okay? So they are absolutely fundamental for creating dynamic and interactive programs. Like take for example the Facebook, Instagram, all those amazing applications online. So have you asked yourself, like, if you are not logged in, most of these applications, if you are not logged in, will you be able to see what is inside the application if you have not created an account?
no.
right? You won't be able to see the full features or the operations of that application, say Facebook, except you create an account, okay? So that code was actually written based on this conditional statement. So the programmer wrote, if user, if this user doesn't have an account, don't allow this user to see the application. Or if this user has an account, then allow the user to see the application. Are we following? I hope no one is confused.
Following, sir.
Great. So that's just basically that. So we have two main types of conditional statement, right? When writing conditional statement and or, right? We have the if statement and the switch statement, the if statement and the switch statement, okay? Before we go into these two concepts, from experience, like for example, me, right? When I came across this concept for the first time, I struggled with it first time. So that pushed me to practicing and try to know it much better. So it's okay if you get confused with this if and switch, but with time, with practice, it will become clearer, right? I'm just saying because for me, I struggled with if and switch statement, okay? Human beings differ, right? There are some learners that are fast in grasping concept while some are slower in it, okay? So just take note of that. And if you are confused, you can draw my attention back to it and I'll explain it again using my whiteboard in case you are not still clear, okay? All right, so the if statement, all right, if statement is your primary tool for decision making. So at its simplest, it says if this condition is true, then what happens? If the rain is falling, if this condition is true, what should happen? The action is always enclosed in the body, right? It's always enclosed in the body. We call this body the coily brace. Any action or any execution enclosed within these two coily brace is regarded as the action. What do you want the code to perform after meeting that condition? Are we clear? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the first part of writing statement is when we are making use of only if. Only if. Take note of the difference. Only if. When we are making use of only if statement, if this condition is met, perform this, and that action, that result, or the execution should be within the coily brace. Okay. Execute a block of code if a specific condition is true. So if the rain is falling, then what should be the action? Carry your umbrella. Okay? If I am hungry, go and eat eba. Hope we are following, right? Is that one answer?
Yeah.
All right, great. So second one is if else. Know the difference. We can have if statements that looks like the first one where we only see only if statement. We can also have another if statement that has both if and else, if else together. So what would be the difference between using only if and what's the difference between using and also using if else? All right. So for this part, we have both if and else together. So how it works is if the condition is met, what should happen? Execute this. It means it's actually true. For a condition to be met, it means it is true, right? So if this condition is met, execute this. Else means or execute this other one. So in the life scenario is just saying if the rain is falling, if the rain is falling, then what should happen? Take umbrella. else, go without umbrella. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can proceed now, right? Are we all following?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if the rain is falling, what should happen? Go with the umbrella. So if I should ask, what what will make this code, this line of code, this line to be executed? What will make this line of code to execute?
That is if rain is falling.
Exactly. Then what will make this line to execute?
If
If
rain is
rain
not
is
falling,
Okay, if rain is not falling. So if rain is not falling, is it possible for the both block to execute?
never.
It's not possible, right? Because I mean you have to choose one. If it is not true, then else means it's going to be false. You get,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then the last one is if else handles multiple conditions. It handles multiple conditions, all right? You know, we have been dealing with one condition or two conditions, which is if it's raining, do this. If it is not raining, do this. So who can give me an example of multiple condition? Maybe there are 3 or 4 conditions. Or, okay, just give me any multiple conditions. Let's use that as an example.
We can use grade. Like
It's
if
morning.
score is also
Hmm?
number, grading system. Like
Sorry?
maybe if student score is 70 is A.
Okay. Exactly. Let's try that one. So this if else is if we are having, let's say, okay, I'll come to that later. Let's say in a program or in a problem, they ask us to write a program that will give students their scores based on the grade, right? Or will give students their grade based on the score they got, right? So problems like that, we already know that actually that is going to be multiple conditions, right? So when we see problems that has to do with more than two, right? More than two. If we had, and even we had a problem that requires that in it will just require 2 conditions. Fine, we can go ahead to use this if else, right? Or conditions that require just one, then we go ahead to use the first one. But when we have problems that require multiple conditions, that is more than one condition, then the third one is always what we would use. So things like if student score is 50 or lesser, what should happen? Give the student C, grade C. Else if means, okay, let's I know when we go into code everything will become clear, right? Let's try and understand this. If condition, so the condition can be if student scored less than 50, what should happen? The grade will be what? E, right? Are we good? Are we good? Are we following?
Yes,
Ah,
I'm following.
okay.
Yes, sir.
So if student scored less than 50, what should happen? Give the student grade E. Else if means check for the second condition, right? If student scored 50, if student scored 50, if okay, let's put it this way. If the student score is 50 and less than 60, what should happen? Give that student C, right? Else, if, don't worry, when we go into code, we will understand it clearly, right? I think this example has um just 3 else if, right? When we go into the code, everything will become clearer. I'm just telling you that when we have multiple conditions, that's when we have if, else, if, else, if. So else, if, else, if, else, if is probably we have, let's say, assuming we have 5 conditions, right? So the first condition is if. The second one is else if. Third one is else if. Fourth one is else if. So by the time we reach the final one, there's no need to use else if. We just use the else because that is the final condition. Are we following? Are we
Yes,
following?
yes, I'm following.
Okay. All right, let's proceed. Now, switch statement still performs the same flow, right? But it has a different syntax. It has a different syntax and all, right? So this is another powerful decision-making tool that is useful when you have a single variable or expression that you want to test against multiple values, right? So most programmers prefer to use the switch statement, right? Like there's a saying, oh, it's normal, like the way I write my code might be different from the way you write your code. So I can decide to use my if else statement. It will still give me the same result. And if you use your switch statement, we still get the same result. Okay? Exactly. Someone says C# is just looking like JavaScript. Perfectly. C# is very, 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 very similar to JavaScript. Very, very similar. Yeah, very, very similar to JavaScript. I started with C#. So I think last year I had to go into JavaScript, TypeScript, and I noticed that I easily understood JavaScript syntax because everything in JavaScript, like I say 80-90% of the syntax is the same way with C#. Although the difference is that um, C# is strongly typed, while JavaScript isn't. Because when you say strongly typed, when you hear people say a programming language is strongly typed, it means when you are declaring the variable and or you have for C# you must explicitly state the data type of that variable. While for JavaScript, people use var. Var could mean any distance. So it's not strongly typed because for JavaScript now, the kind of value you assign to the variable would dynamically tell if that value is a double or a string or a whatever. But for C#, you have to state it clearly. What type of value is assigned to this variable? What type of data type will this value store? Right? Okay. All right. So this is switch statement, which is similar to the if statement, right? So when we go into the code, we'll still understand this, right? I decided not to explain this one because this will confuse you. Then when you understand the if statement, then the switch wouldn't be that difficult at all. Okay. So any question before we go into the demo part? Any question? Do we have question? Anyone? Should we go into demo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I hope the class is not dull though. Let me check my people. Precious, are we good?
Yes, sir, I'm very good.
Okay. Abiola, are we good?
Um,
Are we good?
yes, sir, I'm good.
Okay. Daniel, are we good? I want to hear your voice, so Duncan, are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Gifts, are we following?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. We
yeah,
do
can
that.
you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Daniel, you are good. You are good. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Marian, are we good? Marian Abate.
So yes, we are good, but I
Yes,
came
we are
late.
good.
What did you say?
I came late, so I came in late.
Chai. I will start flogging you.
Sorry,
Shall
sir.
we
I
just
thought it's tomorrow we're supposed to have class, not today.
eh? It's actually Tuesday and Thursdays. Oh, Tuesday and Thursday. And I stated it on the group. Okay.
Eh,
Yeah, Tuesdays
okay.
and Thursdays. Just take note of that. Write, go somewhere, write it in your calendar, whatever. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Then Marianuba said it's okay. Odili, Peter Odili. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
All right. And Samuel. I know say you na boss na. You don't no need to ask you na. Sure.
Haba.
All right, now let's go into the code. I hope I'm not missing anyone. All right, I'm not missing anyone. Okay, great. All right. All right, can we see the Visual Studio IDE now?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see it.
All
Yes.
right, great. Okay, hold on, I'm coming. All right, let me delete this line. So first off, we will talk about the constant now. Constant. So let's say I have a variable called, maybe I'm asked to calculate the area, let's say constant, which is the program that says calculate the area of a circle, right? I have a program that says calculate the area of a circle. So for those that have their foundation or their background is strong in algorithmic thinking, or when you are asked to write the algorithm, right? Area of a circle, it means we need two things, which is what? Pi and the radius, right? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
So you can say let's create a variable. Let's create a variable. You can use double pi equal to 3.14 whatever, and we have another one, maybe double radius equal to 5.0. Then the third one will be what? Who can tell me who can guess our third variable? What do you think our third variable will be?
The square.
Not really. Partially. Just tell me, like, yeah, you're getting it closely, the square. So what is
2.
holding the square? That is actually the variable, which can be the result, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Okay. So you
Yeah.
can have double result, or you can say double area, because it's actually the area, right? Equal to pi times radius. This is like saying, pi r times r. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So after doing this, we want to check what is the result of it. Console dot right line equal to area equal to area. Console dot right line equals to area. Someone use your calculator. Multiply this times this times this. What do you have? Let's try to check the result before we run the code. What will be the result? Has someone calculated the final value?
I'm coming, sir.
3.14159 times 5.0.
Mhm.
Okay, it seems
The final should I think is 78.539. I think.
okay. Five three
Yeah.
nine seven five or thereabouts.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay. So let's run the code to see if we are going to get this area. All right. So I'm going to run it now. All right. So it's running. Okay, can we see the window, the console? I think that's because I'm not
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah, visible.
Okay, we can see the console. What is in the console?
Build completed at
No, no,
um
no, 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 no. That's the terminal and oh, don't worry. Let me make it visible. Like the console, the black screen that we see the
no,
result
no,
of.
no,
Yeah,
no,
let
it's
me
not visible.
let me check it. Sorry. That should be this one. Okay. All right. So that should be this one. All right. So this is it. Can we see it now?
No. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we see the final result 78.53975 and all. Right? So
Yes, sir.
that's just basically it. Okay. Then when we write code, it's possible that like human beings tends to forget or human beings are prone to make mistakes and all. Okay. So there's a possibility that after writing the code, mistakenly, right? Mistakenly, you might reassign pi to be maybe 56.3. There's a possibility. Like it's possible to do that. Like it's very possible. And you did not know that you have actually reassigned pi, which is supposed to be constant. And assuming you reassigned it and you had to run the code, you have actually used your calculator that had pi and you ran your code. And after running it, you saw what? Let's run the code. We saw a different value, 1407.5. And in your mind, you're like, why is it giving me 1407? Like, I'm actually expecting 78.53975, but I'm seeing 1407.5. Like, what is the issue? That is because you reassigned a value that is supposed to be constant in real life scenario. Pi's are constant. Pi doesn't change. It is constant. So you're not to reassign the value of it. You did not know, you made mistake and you reassigned it, right? So there are cases like that. So to avoid such cases, to avoid cases whereby you do not want to reassign a variable by mistake, all you just need to do is at before the data type double, put a cons keyword before it. That's all. So by doing that, when you reassign it, even before running, C# is going to tell you, see this red line, is going to tell you the left-hand side of an assignment must be a variable, property, or indexer. So it's telling you that this variable is actually a constant. So you are not allowed to reassign the value. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Then secondly, all constant variables, all the variable name must be capitalized, or it must be in uppercase. So take note of that. All right. Let's take note of that too. All right. So meaning I need to come here and change this to capital letter pi. And I need to come here and change it to capital letter pi. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
But now I want to show you a simpler way, right? Assuming we had pi in 5 places. Let's say assuming we had this, let's say we had this. Let me take it back first. So I'll show you the simpler way of doing it, right? In case you encounter something like that. Assuming in 5 places we had this, right? Maybe area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, area 5, area 6. Assuming I want to change the variable name of 5 of pi that is showing, or maybe radius, let's use radius, that is showing, maybe instead of using radius as a variable name, I want to use radius value. I want to use this value, right? It means I have to come here and rename this to, maybe I just copy it and I paste radius value, radius value. Can you see the stress in doing that? We all see the stress in doing that, right? Coming here, do this and that, right?
Yes, sir.
Are we following?
We are following.
All right. So imagine the stress in doing that. So to avoid that, there is a syntax, there is a shortcut to help us solve that issue, which is, if we want to change the variable name in all the places that is being mentioned, 8, it was mentioned in line 8, line 9, line 10, it was mentioned there and all. If we want to rename this so that it will apply to all the places that is being mentioned, we just type, there's a shortcut command, a keyboard shortcut, which is Control RR. Control RR, this keyboard shortcut. You can write it somewhere so that you will not forget. Control plus RR. That's all. Just hover on the variable name and type Control RR. Very
Question.
good. Then it's going to.
Question.
All right, go ahead.
The Control RR, is it for Mac or for Windows?
Okay, for Mac, you can use Command RR. You can use Command RR. Yeah, you can use Command RR. But if it doesn't work at your end, just reach out to me, okay? If it doesn't work at your end, I think there's another shortcut for that. I'm actually using Windows, that's why. Okay? Right?
Thank you.
All right. So radius, so this display will pop up telling you to write the name you want it. So if it is radius value I want, I just give it radius value. Then if I'm satisfied, I click on enter and it's going to rename everywhere automatically. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
All right. So just in case you experience something like that. So let me go back to how it was. All right. Let's go back to how it was. Okay. Now, there might be a scenario whereby the first problem is calculate the area of a circle, right? And give me the final result. Maybe you might encounter another twisted problem that will, let me duplicate this. Let's duplicate this. Copy. Let's duplicate this, okay? Let's duplicate this. So I'm going to use, by me commenting this out, it means I don't want this to execute, right? Let's assume, the code runs from top down, right? Top down. And I don't want this line of code to execute when C# is running or when you run your code. I just need to comment it because C# doesn't execute commented lines and all. Okay? Right?
Yes, sir.
Great. So I don't want it to execute this. So I had to just, for example, yeah, I just had to comment that out and use this one. So you can have a problem that says calculate the area of a circle and let your answer be in a whole number. Whole number means there should not be decimal, just give me whole number. Okay, that is where we apply. Let me change this one to capital letter since it's a constant value, pi, capital letter. All right. So let your answer be in the whole number. Okay. So we have this pi equal to this, radius equal to this. Then after running it, we get what? Pi times r times I. When we run it, we get 78.53975. But I'm interested in the whole number. I want my answer to be 78, just whole number, not decimal. That is where implicit casting comes in. And who can tell me what implicit conversion is? What is implicit conversion? Implicit or explicit?
It's
Yeah, implicit.
implicit.
Uh, for okay, for implicit, we are converting from the lowest to the highest
Data
data type,
type.
like from S bytes. Yes.
Okay. Then for explicit.
Explicit, we are converting from the higher data type to the lower data type. That is from bytes to S bytes.
Okay, exactly. So now, for this problem now, ANSWR, so I'm interested in the whole number actually. So since I'm interested in this whole number, am I going to perform implicit conversion or explicit conversion based on this problem?
It's going to be explicit.
It's going to be explicit, right? Who else? Who else? Is it explicit or implicit?
Explicit, sir.
Explicit, right? Why do you think it's explicit?
Because you'll be converting from double to integer.
Exactly, right. So exactly, be converting from double to integer. So in that case, let's assume our final answer is area, and I'm interested in just the whole number. All I just need to do is to create another variable, call it maybe int, then area whole number, right? Equal to, so how we perform explicit conversion is just, first of all, write the equals to area, right? Area. Then besides besides the area, explicitly convert it to this. Write the data type you want it to convert to, which in this case is going to be what? Int. Then put your semicolon. That's all. This is how we perform explicit conversion. This is how we perform explicit conversion. Is someone confused? Is someone confused? Are we good to go? Are we good to go? No one is
Yes, sir, we are good.
talking. All right, all right.
Sir, I don't
Let's.
understand though.
All right, you don't understand, right? Okay. Now, this is my final result, right? We have area equal to what? 78. Let's say I've written the code, right? Let me run the code. Let me run the code. So after running the code, I got 78.53975, right? But from the problem, it says, wait, the person that said you don't understand, are you the one that joined class late?
No, sir.
Okay. So from the problem says calculate the area of a circle. This is the area of the circle, 78.52975. And let your answer be a whole number. So let your answer be a whole number means there should not be decimal in your answer. Meaning I just need to have my answer as 78. Why this value, this other value will be thrown away. And mind you, when we're differentiating between explicit and implicit, right? For explicit, there's a possibility of data loss. Do you remember?
Uh,
Eh?
yes, sir.
All right. So there is a possibility of losing data when we are performing explicit conversion. While for implicit, there is no possibility of losing any data. So for this now, since we are throwing away the decimal, because from the problem, it says, let your answer be in whole number, meaning we just need to throw away this. And since we'll be throwing away something, it means we are going to perform what? Explicit conversion. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now that we have agreed that we are going to perform explicit conversion, the next step is how do we write that? How do we write that syntax in C sharp? How do we convert from a data type that is higher to a smaller data type? How do we write that? First of all, the step is this. Let me just use the comments here. Hold on. Let me do this. Explicit conversion, right? Explicit conversion. Yeah. For explicit conversion, right? So for explicit conversion, what do we do? Let me write the notes. All right. So for explicit conversion, what should happen? First step is what? Determine if it is explicit or implicit conversion, right? Secondly, if it is explicit, if it is explicit, right? If it is explicit, what should happen? Then the correct syntax is, the syntax will be this: create a variable, create a new variable that has the data type you are converting it to, that has the data type you want to convert to, right? That has the data type you want to convert to, right? Then assign it to the previous variable, right? Assign it to the previous variable. So what I mean is this: first of all, we create a new variable, which is what? So assuming I'm converting this decimal, this answer that gave me decimal, which is this one, 78 point this, I want to convert it to a whole number. And when dealing with whole number, we can use data type like S bytes, short, int, and the likes, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Good. So since I want to convert it to int, first of all, create a new variable that has the data type you want to convert to, which is int, then the name of the new variable, which is what? Which could be new area, right? Equal to what? The previous variable. The previous variable was what? Area, right? So we'll just write this area, okay? Before the area. So the next step is, after writing assigning the value equal to the new variable name. So before the previous variable, right, statement or whatever, write this syntax. I don't know the right English. So if we are converting to int, write this before it. Meaning for here, you just need to write this int and this. So if we are converting to double, here will be, it's going to be double. If we were converting to, let's assume this is for when we are converting to int, right? So had it been we were converting to long, had it been we were converting to long, what will it be? It's going to be long new area 2 equal to what? Long then area. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
If it was to short, it's going to be what? Short new area 3 equal to short area. We are following, right? Right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Great. So that's how we do explicit conversion. We just create a new variable, then assign it to the new data type in in bracket, then we write the previous variable name that was done. So when we do that and we console the output, we print the output of this new area. Let's print it out. Um, so let's use new area, right? So when we print it out, what are we going to get? Okay, Odili, raise your, okay, go ahead.
Yes, so since we are, I don't know what this is. You call it typecasting or something.
Yeah, typecasting, yes.
Yeah, so since we have to like typecast if we are doing explicit conversion, which is
Yes.
converting from higher data type to lower
Yes.
data type.
Yeah.
Can we also do this typecasting if you're converting from lower to higher?
All right,
I
yeah. Good
know.
question. I'll come to that, but it's going to be different syntax. That one is just straightforward. Like it's straightforward. I'll come to that. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, because maybe if you're writing program and you're trying to just, instead of trying to check, oh, which one is higher and which one is lower, you can just easily just do
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I get you. Don't worry, I'll come to that. Yes. But we understood this part now, right? So now the answer is
Yeah.
78. Right? We all understood to this level now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, great. So now for the explicit, right? For the explicit is for implicit rather. Let's say assuming I have a variable called I have a data type, maybe S byte, and what's the name of the variable? We can say um H equal to um 23, right? I want to typecast this implicitly. I want to have perform implicit conversion to something higher, which is int, like converting from a lower data type to a higher data type. So from S byte to int to a higher data type, which is int, right? I can decide to do this int, the new variable, which is what? New age equal to what? Age. That's all. We don't need to do this, right? We don't need to do this. Just call the variable name directly. That's all. Do you get it? Let's see now. Let's
Okay.
check it out first.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
print the both of them. All right, go ahead.
I didn't get you, sir.
All right. So now there are two ways of performing typecasting now, right? Converting from lower data type to higher data type, and from higher data type to lower data type, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. So what we did before was converting from a higher data type, which was double, to a lower data type of int, right?
Yes, sir.
You understood that part now?
Yes, sir.
Now, we have scenarios whereby you will convert, there will be conversion from a lower data type to a higher data type. What we did was from higher to lower. Let me do this so that this is for explicit conversion. This is for explicit conversion. Let me remove this first so that we don't get confused. Let me remove this one. All right. So let's do for copy this paste this. All right, comment this. All right, let's comment that out and use this. All right, then let me separate this with X so that we don't get confused. This is the second section. All right, this is the second section. So this is for implicit conversion. So determine if it is explicit or implicit. If it is implicit, right? If it is implicit, create a new variable that has the data type you want to convert to. Then assign it to the previous variable. You don't need to do this final step. Dynamically, it is going to convert it. Behind the scene, it is going to convert it to the new data type variable. Oh, that's what it means. Meaning, for example, if I have a data type, let me clean this. So if I have a data type, let me comment this out. Let's say I have a data type. Let's go to the table so that we don't get confused. This is the table. Can we see the table?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's assuming we are converting, maybe we have a data type of short. Short is the data type. Please mute the background noise. Okay. Short is the data type. Maybe I have a data type of short. So let's go to the code. Who is that now? Sorry,
Sorry.
hold on. Someone's voice is the gift. Okay. Sorry about the noise. So I have this variable. Let's create a variable of short data type. Let's do that. So I have short. What is the name of the variable? Value equal to, let's give it value of 234, right? 234. Now, I want to convert this to long. I want to convert this to from short. I want to perform implicit conversion from short to long. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great. I want to perform implicit conversion from the lower data type to the higher data type. So how do I do that? First of all, create a new variable, right? That would have the new data type you want to convert to, which is what? Long, let's say new value, equal to, assign it to the previous variable, which is value. That is all. You don't need to come here to do this, right? You don't need to come there to do this. Are we good? Odili,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand this, but I also want to know if we actually like put long in front, will it throw an error?
I don't think it will throw an error. Let's try it out first. Let's see. Long. All right, let's do something. New value 1. Then we'll have a duplicate of this. Then the one without it. Right? Then let's give it 2. Then what will be the answer? We have new value 1, right? Then new value 2. Let's try it and see if it will give us. All right. Run it now. We run it. What do we get? 234, 234. We still get the same result. So if we still do the same step, we still get the answer. So if I were you, would you choose to explicitly write it as this, or you will just go ahead? Which one is extra line of code, or which one is extra character writing? Is the first
First one.
one,
Yes, sir.
right? So I'm used to writing performing my implicit conversion with the second approach. But it's your choice anyway. Like, you can use the first way if you want to really understand how it flows. But the second way, it will still work. The first way will still work. It's still the same thing. But when like I know there's what we call code reviews. Like when you write code, the senior developer would review what you have done. So there was a time I wrote this line 44. I wrote this and my team lead saw it and told me to just simply go ahead to write it this way, which is neater than this. Because for someone to be writing this, it means and the person, because the first time he saw this, he thought that I'm actually performing explicit conversion. Do you get?
Yeah.
Cool. So the both ways still work. So the both way works. So, but to make it neater and readable, so that when someone is looking at your code, if the person see this bracket, the person will think, okay, you are performing explicit conversion, but the person will not know that actually that is actually implicit. Okay, it's just to help the person read your code um and understand it, just for readability's sake. All right.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yes, sir.
don't worry. You are confused. Don't worry. You can write anyway. Okay, just for now, yeah. Write both ways. No wahala. It's still fine. It's still fine. I don't want to get you confused. When you reach that bridge, you will know why. Okay. Either way works. So right. Then if I see this in your assignment, I'll correct you and say you can, since it's implicit conversion you are doing, you don't need to do this. Just go ahead and write this second syntax. That's what I will review and make corrections in your code if I see it in your code.
Okay. Because well, I was actually asking this question because we are still dealing with small number now, so it's easy to know, okay, which one is higher and which one is lower. But when you now come to dealing with something like double and decimal, you now have to go and start going to check the sheets whether double is higher or decimal is higher, and know when to do explicit and implicit. So that's why I just wanted to know if you can either way just put the typecasting there and it's not
Okay.
run error.
Even double, if you are converting to double, it's just simply double new value 3 equal to um, value. That's all. You just do this, it's still fine. But if you want to explicitly define that way, if you want to clearly define it like normal way, then you can do this, the variable name, which is what? Double. It still works fine. So if you run it now, let's see what this will give. Um, New value 3. So if I run this, 234, 234, 234, I still get that, right? So assuming, let's say here was 234, maybe I have this. Let's just use double value equal to 234.4, right? I want to convert this to long. See, now this one is flagging. See, the difference between this and this is that this one is now showing the explicit syntax. This is converting from double to long. That is converting from a higher data type to a lower data type, right? C# is flagging error saying you cannot do this except you define it clearly, which is what? Long. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes,
I've
sir.
dwelt so much on this, but what will help you understand clearly is when you see a problem that will force you to apply this concept, okay? When you see a problem that will force you to apply it, then you understand it clearly, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So in your assignment, I know I didn't do it. There are times where, you know, there are different ways of writing console write line, right? So there are times when we want to just make it interactive and all, meaning maybe in your you don't want to be seeing when you run your code, you don't want to see 234, 234, 234. You want to see things like the addition of 4 and 5 is what is equal to um 4 and 5 equal to 9. You want to see this neater way, right? The addition of this and this. You want to see this in your console, right? You don't want to just be printing only the value. You want to write statements inside it. And how do we do that, right? How do we do that? So let's assume, let me comment that out as well. Let me do this. Then more about console. I know I've not gone into console, but this will help you in your assignments, right? Console dot write line, right? So assuming I have two variables, I'm asked to write a program that adds two numbers, right? Write a program sorry, write a program that adds two numbers. Okay, write a program that adds two numbers. So first thing first, you create a variable, the first variable for the first number. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Great. So create a variable that will hold the first number, which is num1 equal to 4. Create the second one, num2 equal to 5. And what will be the third one? So
Sum.
in sum equal to num1 plus num2. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Right? So there are times when we want to print in our console, we want to see things like this. Console dot write line, console dot write line equal to, when we are dealing with string now, we want to see statement, we just enclose it in double quotes. We want to say the addition of 4 and 5 is equal to 9. We want to see it display like this, right? Someone will tell me why why this is not dynamic. Let me run the code first. All right, we have the addition of 4 and 5 is 9, right? So who can tell me why this will not work? Let me comment this out. Why this line 64 isn't going to be dynamic? Yeah, let me put it that way. Who can tell me? Okay, okay. Who can tell me? Let me just, before I say
Let
something.
Because
me.
it's a string.
Go ahead.
Okay, so why it won't be dynamic is for every time the program runs, it will render the same thing, even if the values of the numbers change.
Exactly. So that's what we call hard coding. Hard coding is not going to be dynamic. Means what if I change here to 7 and I change here to 2, right? And I run it, it's going to still tell me 4 and 5. Meanwhile, for here, I'm using 7 and I'm using here 2. So I need to make it dynamic. I need to reference, I don't need to reference the value. I need to reference the variable name, because by referencing the variable name, when the variable name change, when the value change, it will still take the variable name will still take the updated value. Are we good? Are we following?
Yes, we are
Yes.
following.
Okay, so how do I make this dynamic? How do I write this? How do I rewrite um trace this num1? So I can just easily, so someone will say, Ayana, change the 4 to num1 and change it to num2, then it's equal to, for here, change it to what? Sum. Abi? Since
Yes.
we need to reference the variable name. So if I run it again now, what am I going to be saying? Who can guess what we'll be saying?
So you will see num1 plus num2.
Okay, let's check it out now. The addition of
You'll be seeing the
num1
same value that is
and
inside
num2
the
is equal to
number and
sum,
number two.
right?
Yes.
Which is not giving me what we want. What we want to see is the addition of 7 and
Hello.
2 is what? 9.
Right.
That's what we want to see. So how do we go about that? So in C Sharp, when we want to call in a variable name in our statement, want to call in a variable name in our statement, what we just do is we come here, there's what we call interpolation, where since we want to call in a variable name, before the quotes, we introduce a dollar sign. We introduce a dollar sign. First of all, you introduce a dollar sign, right? Then secondly, I know I've not told us about console write line. So I'm just explaining this because we have this in our assignment. I know that for sure. So we want to call a variable name. We interpolate, and by interpolation, we mean put a dollar sign before the double quote. Then wherever you are trying to call wherever you want to call a variable name, first of all, use curly brace and pass in the variable name, and that's all, right? So for this num2, what will it be? You open your double curly brace, right? Then pass in num2 is equal to, what will this be? What would that be? Open your curly brace, pass in sum, and that's all. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
I hope nobody is lost. I've not even gone into the if statement too. We might close late, sha. Let's see anyways. But we are following, right?
Yes, sir.
Are we sure? So let's run the code
No,
first.
sir. I'm lost.
Hey, hey, I know someone will be lost. Addition of 7 and 9. It's 9. Okay, 7 and 2. So where are you lost? Hmm. Where are you lost? Which side?
Okay, from the console right line, the addition of the dollars from the dollar sign, the one with the red
Okay,
mark here. I didn't get that.
right. Okay. So like I said before, I want to reference the variable name. I want this my console write line to be dynamic enough so that when I'm running it, it's going to be taking the values. It's going to be calling the values directly, like the addition of 7, because num1 is equal to 7. So I want it in my console, I want it to print the addition of 7 and 2 is equal to what? 9, right?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
So if I
Yes,
run
sir.
it, I want to be seeing it dynamically. I want to be seeing the real values for that variable. But there is an issue. I'm still getting the string, which is what? The exact variable name, which is not what I want. I want to call in a variable name into my statement, into my console write line, into my string. I want to call in a variable name. And how do we call in a variable name? How do we do that? First of all, the first step now is to do what? Let me rewrite this again. Console dot write line, open bracket. The first thing to do is what? Introduce a dollar sign, then your double quote. That's all. So whatever statement you are writing, let's assuming you are writing over lines and you want to bring in a variable name that you want to show the value. You don't want the console to print the variable, you want it to print the value. All you just need to do is to call in a variable name. And when you run the code, it will print out the value. Do you get?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
So how do we call in this variable name? So it will not be doing like, it won't be displaying like the first way we did. All we just need to do, since it's a variable name, we call in our open and closing curly brace. Then inside it, pass in what? The variable name. That's all. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
Then if you are writing and you want to call in sum into your statement, all you just need to do is to introduce your curly brace and pass in the sum. That's all. Then your statement, and we are good to go. That's just straightforward. So this is it, 7, 9. Right?
Yes, sir.
We go ahead.
Yes.
All right, good. So let's continue. 48. So 12 minutes to go. I hope I'll just finish up. Oh. So this will help you in your assignment. There are more to this, but for now, just understand this. When we go into console next week and loops, it will become clearer. Okay? All right. Assignments. Let's go to assignments, the operators and all. Who is tired? Don't be tired, though, Nico. Assignments. So what did we say? Who can remember what we talked about when we came across assignment, right? So assignment is just the normal, when the operators that has to do with equal to. So assume we have this int, we are all familiar with this anyways. Int value equal to 6. This equal to is what we are used to anyways. Value 5 equal to 6. This is a statement that is using what? The equality symbol. Right? Are we following?
No.
Yes, I'm following.
Who is not following?
Me, sir.
You are not following. No, say your mind though. Let's find
I
it.
did not get what you said.
All right, let me go back to um let me go back to this is what we are trying to do now. Hold on, just give me 20 seconds. Come. All right, I'm back. So this is where we are now. C# operators and all. So we want to talk about the different operators, the arithmetic operators, plus, minus, times. In fact, we are familiar with this. The difference now, what we need to talk about is division and modulus. So let's look at division and modulus. Okay? Division and modulus. Let's look at that now. You guys will give me 10 extra minutes though, so that I'll finish this stuff. So for division and modulus, right? Division and modulus. So you can have a problem that will say write a program to divide num1 and num2, right? We can have problems like this. You will say write a program that will perform division between two numbers, right? Are we following? I just want to get your feedback.
Yes, sir.
All right. Write a program that divides two numbers, num1 and num2. So what comes to your mind is how we do it is when you see something like this, the first thing is to create the variables that will store these numbers. Then your final variable will perform the evaluation or the calculation. Okay? So first thing first, now we are dealing with division. So obviously we are not going to use integers because it's division, right? So we can decide to say maybe int num1 equal to 7, right? Or maybe numb number 1 equal to 7, then int number 2 equal to 9. So what will be the final variable? Who can tell me? The final variable will be what? Why is the class quiet now? Are we tired? Hello?
Yes, sir. Will there be some?
Okay, we are finding division, right? So it's not going to be sum because the problem is telling us to calculate the division.
Maybe
What
result
will
or
be your
something.
variable name?
Results.
Okay, we can use result, exactly. So the result, is it okay to use int result equal to number 1 divided by number 2? What's wrong with this statement?
Double the type.
Hmm?
The data type.
The data type.
Yeah.
Why can't we use int? Why should we use double?
Because
Um,
since 7
Because
7 divided by 9 is
both
not
numbers,
Because we are going
they
to
are
get
odd numbers.
Going
decimals.
to get
Exactly. Anything division, we are sure of. We might get the division, we might get decimal or whole number, and also we need to be sure of that. Yeah. So double result equal to this, and final answer will be console log blah blah blah. The division of num1 and num2. Now I'll be using the statement directly since we know about this is equal to what result, which is this and this. So if I run this code, what are we going to get? The division of 7 and 9 is 0. Someone will be asking, how come it's 0? Again, who agrees that it is actually 0? Hmm? Hello? Is the answer correct?
Yes, sir.
Who disagrees? See, honestly, this I don't mind spending my time with. I know we have not done
You are not
practice on
saying it.
if statement. I know we have not done practice on if
I
statement,
don't know.
right? And hold on, I'm coming. I
Okay.
say we have actually not gone far because we are here to cover if else statement and all, right? But the goal actually, I really don't want to rush this, right? I can actually stop here, then in our next class, I cover the rest, right? So the goal is for you to fully understand this because if you struggle with this, I can bet you if you struggle with this, it's really going to affect you when we go into newer topics, when we go into new topics. So you have to really, you have to understand this first. You have to really fully understand this, or else it's really going to affect you on the long run. That's why I'm taking my time to talk about this. Okay. And besides, it's a beginner's class, right? So I mean, anything can happen. We can decide to spend so much time on this so far as say we understand them. All right. So go ahead. Who was saying something?
So the answer is not 0, but because we are dividing integers, I think the result will be an integer, although we are like saving it in a double type variable. But then
Okay.
it does not give us like the double result.
Okay. So, all right, let's do this. 7 divided by 9, right? In the real sense, 7 divided by 9 is going to be 0.
7, you have
Yeah,
multiple
something,
seven,
something,
don't worry.
something, something, and
Yeah.
all. But this division is kind of throwing away that, because we are actually dealing with what? Division. Like I said previously now, when you are approximating, it would take, there's a way to go about it, but this division is going to still throw away those other part and approximate it to the whole number. Do you get?
Yeah, so
That is why we have 0. So, okay, now let's try this. Let's use 17. So 17 divided by 9, what would that be? It's going to be 1. 1 point something, 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 something. But because we are dealing with division, division is more like I'm interested in the whole number. Do you get?
yes, sir.
Fine. Good.
Yes, sir. Please, we are not seeing the result, the terminal.
Are you serious? Did you see the terminal here? Are you seeing this terminal?
No, it's
Oh,
just
wow.
showing the build up.
I mean the console. You're not
We are
seeing
not.
the.
I'm not seeing the console. Sorry,
All
sir.
right. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. How about now? Can
Yes,
we
we
see
are
the
seeing,
console
yeah,
now?
we are seeing
Yes.
it.
Okay, you guys were not seeing it before.
Sir.
Ah, sorry. Oh. So the division of 17 and 9 is 1. It is 1 point something, 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 something. But
8888. That's the point.
because of the division, it will take the whole number. But if the problem is write a program to divide two numbers and give me the remainder, right? Or maybe divide and let your answer and give me the remainder, rather. Or maybe divide two number and give me the remainder, right? Modulus is still dividing the two numbers, but after dividing it, it will give you the remainder and not the actual value, right? Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Good. So division, so now it's going to be, is now going to be, all right, after this one, I'm stopping here because I might be tired. Sorry. So it's now going to be the modulus of number 1 and number 2. It's now going to be, what, who can tell me the result? What would the result be?
0.
17 modulus 9. What
1.
would,
Oh, sorry.
eh?
No, there is 9.
17 modulus 9, what will it be? Okay,
That would
17
be,
divided by 9 is 1, right?
yes.
So
The remainder
17
would
modulus
be
9 is what?
8.
8, right? So let's check
Yes.
that. Oh, I didn't use the modulus symbol, so there's it. So let's run it.
Is
So
8.
we got 8. Who is confused? Who is confused? Eh? We are all following, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Should
sir.
we end, should we end here? Whatever you say, I would go with it. Or should we end here? Then next class we continue the rest. Your assignment still depends on that one, Sha. And the class is recorded, so you can always come back to it. So should we just continue and finish it, or we should end here?
So let's continue.
Okay. We all agree we should continue, right? It won't take time. Sorry.
Yes, continue,
Yes, sir.
please.
Yes, sir. We can go
Let's
on.
continue.
Okay,
So
all
for
right.
those that
Thank
are
you.
not following, they can always watch the video and
Okay. All
they can
right. So
always
you
get.
can watch the video, and if you are confused, just drop it in the group. Just drop it in the group, please, and I will respond to that quickly. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Yeah. Okay. I'm not supposed to exceed this time. It is the rule in KodeCamp not to exceed. That's why I'm seeking for your permission before we continue, please. Right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So let's look into no. I think I would handle this in our next class. This topic actually is going to take time. The logical, because this logical statement is technical, and it's the concept is very important. It's important to you. So I would not want to rush this logical where we have to deal with and or because it is very critical. Like it's very important. You need to understand this concept, and it's going to take time. So I'm going to end here, right? So what I'll do is I'm not going to change. Okay, give. I'm coming. I won't change the assignment questions. So if you're not able to answer some of the questions that require the if else statement or the boolean, right? I'll just give that as bonus, okay? Because that concept is very important, which we will handle in our next class. All right. I don't want to, because if we should start that, we would end up staying for 30 minutes or 1 hour, which I do not want. Okay. Are we good?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. We are good though.
But this is raising his hand.
Oh yeah, gifts. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Is concerning the assignments. So
All right.
the assignment you gave us, is it just the answer that we are going to submit, or are we also submitting like the code also?
Yeah, you submit the code. Like the same way I did here. Just create a file, just the normal, create the file, create your this thing, create the file. Then in this your program.cs, which is this one, write all the solutions. Yeah, just write it, separating them with comments. Let's say you are doing um um tax one, you write tax one in the comment, then write the code, finish, then do another comment. Tax two, write the code, finish, then do another one. Tax three. That's what I want.
Okay.
Then
So
you are
it's just the
submitting this
that
file.
we're going to
You're actually
complete.
submitting. Once you are done, you save it, then zip the folder. You know how to zip a folder.
I don't know how to zip a folder.
I asked, I said I mentioned this in yesterday. Is it on Tuesday? I
Yes.
said, do you guys know how to zip folder? People said yes. So,
I
So
did
you
not hear
actually showed
you.
us how to zip the folder on Tuesday.
nah, I said it in our last. I showed you guys how to do that in our previous class now. Hmm?
Ah,
But if you don't know how to, we can fix a session but I'm always free from 10 p.m. From 10 p.m. I'm always free. So I can fix the time, then we meet by 10 p.m. today, right? Okay.
Okay. All right, sir.
All right. So in case you want to meet, you
All right,
can drop
sir.
it on the group. So we meet by